All right, and we are back. Mr. Blood VR. Jesus Christ. Patience, patience, patience. I don't know if this thing is still lagging. I have a feeling that it is. I don't know. But bear with me if it is. You guys should tell me in the chat if it's still lagging. Try to fix it. I don't know what it will be or what it might be. And like I said, Monday Madness. So if you see anything not going the way you thought it would go, just know that it's part of the name. It is all part of the name, okay? We didn't call it Monday Madness for no reason. It's not because some of the headlines are crazy. It's because this stream things always, come up. Crazy things happen when I go live, okay? Sometimes it starts to lag. Sometimes we don't know. We just, leave it all in the hands of God. Let God have his way. That is the Nigerian way. Let God have his way, okay? So, patience. Patience, everyone. And, yes, so I've already shown you guys my funny opening, which was a wonderful video about catfishing. And why you should be careful with what you see on the internet. Everything online is not real. It goes without saying at this point, but sometimes we still feel the need to remind ourselves, because oftentimes the need presents itself. Because you see so many of us acting like everything you see online is real. Oh, it has to be real. There is no other explanation. This has to be real. But it's not. We are going to be discussing so many things today. We are going to be discussing Taylor Swift. We are going to be discussing Rachel Zeglar. We are going to be discussing Andrew Tate. One of the numerous clips that have come out from few months ago, or probably few years ago, where he's saying one or two stuff. And just to let you know how much of a positive influence he is. And we are going to be talking about Rachel Zeglar, the controversy around her. So there are so many things about what is going on with regards to the things she has been saying on multiple interviews and red carpet interviews. She should not be proud of. She has shown to a great extent how immature and obnoxious she is. And she continues to show that. There is no doubt about that. But there are also some things that are being said about her, especially a particular video that is a little bit untrue. Well, very untrue. Let me not say a little bit, but very untrue. And we are going to be looking at that. So yeah, those are the things we are going to be discussing today. Hi, everyone. Let me highlight a few of the chat. This is Cindy. Sorry. This is Cindy6111. Hi, Frank. Cindy from Phoenix checking in. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you, Mr. Blood VR. You're the one who asked what we'll be discussing today. And I just said the things we are going to be discussing today. Thank you to each and every one of you. Lil Buzibet, my regular my regular audience. Those who are always in the audience. And Emmanuel Olu, let me not destroy your name. Just go with Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you said Snow White, yay. Are you excited about Snow White, or are you excited that we are talking about Snow White? I don't even know what the excitement is about. And yeah, so we'll start with Andrew Tate. And for easy for us to easily go through this, I'll just share screen with my Twitter feed, because most of these news are things that I've already uh, talked about on Twitter. So this is just me giving more of an elaborate reaction. And this is a good opportunity to plug in my Twitter once more. If you're not following me on Twitter, go right now to Twitter and follow me. I have a destination. There's somewhere I'm going to. Is the promised land, right? And I need you guys to follow me. The destination is going to be lovely, and it's going to be a fun voyage. Okay, a voyage of common sense, a voyage of sanity in this world of endless insanity and endless stupidity. I'll try as much as possible to be the voice of reasoning as we journey through. Okay, and that is why you should follow me. And also, when you follow me, you get to see, you get an idea of what I'll be talking about when I go live, essentially. Okay, because most of my news story, I get them from Twitter. And I think that's where everybody, at least Twitter brings it to makes you aware of them. Then you go and do one or two research so that you understand the background behind some of these things, and you verify if what you saw on Twitter is actually accurate or inaccurate. And before we go into that, maybe I should just use this as an opportunity to help us understand how to consume the news. People often just take whatever they see on Twitter as the news and just roll with it. No, that's not how you use Twitter. Okay, one thing Twitter does is just, it brings something to your notice. It makes you aware of something. And when that is brought to your notice and you are really interested in the news or in that piece of news, you do your research. You go to Google, you ask a couple of questions, and then you understand what is going on. And so many times, so many times, when you do your research, when you check out the full clip, when maybe you go to YouTube to get the full clip of something, you get a lot more information that was not provided in the little snippet you saw on Twitter. And you may even come to realize that what you saw on Twitter was grossly misinformation, as in gross misinformation, and you were grossly misinformed. And the person who posted that stuff probably did not even know what he was talking about, what the whole story is about, and just ran with what he already saw someone else post. And that way also, you're able to stop yourself from spreading, misinformation. Let's use the popular word that they like using these days. You stop yourself from spreading things that turn out to be rumor or false, or half-truths or false information, essentially. So who is following me on Twitter? This is Fox Metal Jacket. Say hi, Frank. Also from Arizona, but Mesa, not Phoenix. All right. Thank you for joining. And Emmanuel said, I'm excited that we finally get to talk about Rachel. Wow, you really want to talk about her? And this is from Deborah Fernandez. She said, you could do live with other channels. Please, Misha Petrov, or with your subscribers. Yeah, there's someone who I have a live stream that I have planned for Saturday that will be with someone else who is a subscriber. And yeah, I will try to reach out to other YouTubers who are in this space and who will be interested to go live with me. I'm not a fan of making up. I'm not a fan of making new friends and meeting people online. It's kind of weird, But I will give it a try. I will. It is on my to-do list. Yes. And this is the first MX. Hi from Houston, Texas. Thank you. Let me use this opportunity to also tell you guys that, please, the super chats should be flooding in. I am no longer ashamed of asking for them. Please, I am looking forward to the super chats. And of course, I'll be really, really grateful when they come in. All right, moving forward. The Andrew Tate clip. Right. Let's go. There's somewhere where I spoke about it. Let me get to that place. Okay. So, yeah, this is the clip that we are going to be looking at. And there are a couple of things you need to know before we go into discussing this clip. This is an interview with Rollo Tomasi. I mean, many of you who are familiar with the Red Pill movement, the Manosphere, you must have heard of the name Rollo Tomasi. He is the person that Paul Davis is ripping off. Paul Davis is a ripoff of Rollo Tomasi. Like almost everything she says is just repackaged to Rollo Tomasi. Rollo Tomasi is like the founder, more or less, or one of the pioneers of the Red Pill movement. He's one of the pioneers of the manosphere, right? He's a prominent figure when you talk about men's rights, when you talk about men's perspective in the dating world, offering advice to men about going on, how to go on with the dynamic, with the male-female relationship dynamic and how to handle it. Rollo Tomasi has been on this for like when I was looking into Rollo Tomasi, I discovered that his first ever live interview was with Andrew Tate. It was with Andrew Tate. It was funny to realize that this guy has been on the Tate ship for a very long time. Okay, these are one of the early people who were deceived by Andrew Tate, to put it mildly, I would say. So yeah, he has a website called The Rational Man, and when you go there, you see all the stuff about, the Red Pill. I want to show you guys something. Just a little bit. It's just let me. I want to show you guys something very funny that I saw today when I was researching Rollo Tomasi. And we'll go to his website. I want to show you something that I saw on his website. Right. It's very funny. Or I consider it funny. To me, it was funny. I don't know if you guys will consider it funny, but to me, it was funny. Let me see the Rational Man website. Where is it? Where are you? Let me go to his good read. This guy, for people in the manosphere who have listened to Andrew Tate, where he talks about, real men don't read. I don't know if you've seen that clip of Andrew Tate saying men don't read. That he doesn't like to read. Reading is for losers, essentially. He just like to go out there, drive his fast car, sleep with a couple of women, do this and that, be active. And that's what, people with high intelligence like, Andrew Tate, that's what they do. They don't sit down reading or about that. That's boring, man. That's boring. That's what he said. But Rollo Tomasi, who is the pioneer of the Red Pill movement, he has written quite a lot of books, man. We're talking about, this is the dominant masculine presence. Let me zoom it. Let me zoom in so you can see some of these books. This is the dominant masculine the dominant masculine presence, rational male. Sorry, the rational male, not the rational man. The rational male. He has the rational male preventive medicine. He has another title with a dominant masculine presence, learning how to cultivate your authentic self as a man and display supreme confidence and control over how you are perceived. Masculinity in the 21st Century, a primer, Modern Masculinity, Book 1, The Unplugged Alpha, The Rational Male Religion, The Rational Male, The Player's Handbook. A Player's Handbook, guys. This is a Player's Handbook by Rollo Tomasi. If you sit under the tutelage of Rollo Tomasi, you know how to be a player, how to have game. So that's what this guy is all about, right? And he did an interview with Andrew Tate. And I don't know when this is from. I don't know if it is from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but I'm very sure it is not from 4 years ago because his first interview with Andrew Tate was from 4 years ago. So I believe this would probably be 3 or 2 years ago, right? And here's what they were talking about. I want you guys to pay close attention to this. Very interesting stuff. The kind of things that young men should be exposed to, obviously, without the shadow of a doubt.
A girl, we'll protect names, so I won't give her her real name. We'll call her Tina. And Tina was my ex. I had a girl who I was banging called Tina who caught me cheating back during...
All right, before we continue, I want you guys to know, viewers' discretion is advised, okay? We are talking about Andrew Tate here. Profanity is something you should expect, okay? So, please, if you are watching this with a child, you know that child should not be present. There's going to be some awful language. It's Andrew Tate. You cannot escape it.
10 years ago when I was 23, aspiring fighter, She caught me cheating, told her to fuck off. Anyway, Tina gets married to some dude. I end up finding Tina again on Instagram, messaging Tina. So Tina is married now. She's got some new guy. blah, blah, blah. But she's still replying to me. That eventually I convince her to pretend she's going gym, meet me. I pick her up in the car, blah, 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 blah. Tina starts having an affair with me. Of course. So anyway, Tina, this is funny. Tina lost her wedding ring in my car. She took it off and it fell down the edge of the seat of the Lambo and you can't get it out. And this, we come back to this later. So she lost her wedding ring in my car. So I'm fucking her. She lives in England. I still live in Romania. I'm just going back and forth. So anyway, I convinced her to leave her man, get a divorce, come here and be a cam girl, to come do cam. So all this goes through. I mentioned the ring because when she said that, I'm just not, all the things Megan says, I'm just not.
Let's not go further into this whole video. Let's just stop here. I think we've seen enough. Right? And I want you guys to note that this is still the most prominent figure when it comes to the manosphere, when it comes to the red-pilled community. People who are trying to escape the matrix by swallowing the red pill so that they will be aware, they will not be deceived, right? This is the pioneer. This is the leading voice. This is the guy who is going to save you from the program, the programming, the depraved programming of the matrix, right? And here he is bragging about breaking up someone's marriage. There's this clips, I say clips. Why am I putting things in plural? Before we continue, KT Rainbow, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Before we continue, what did I want to say? I want you guys to understand that Andrew Tate is being portrayed as a hero, the hero of young men, the person who is going to save them. But there's this clip. I remember what I wanted to say. There's this clip that during the Candace Owens interview with Andrew Tate, where they were responding to Andrew Tate talking about discussing with what's his name, Adam 22, and where Adam 22 proposed to Andrew Tate that if he wanted to ever do his first double penetration scene, that he can contact him and Adam 22 will be, and his wife will be down for that, stuff like that. And Candace Owens was like, oh, that was so despicable. And of course, Andrew Tate was like, yeah, it was bad. Yeah, I saw it. Here's something funny that he said in that interview. He didn't say he didn't do it because it was wrong. He didn't say he didn't do it because he considered it depraved. Instead, he said he didn't do it or he didn't go hard on the lady because he was talking about going hard on the lady. So let me make that point, that he was talking about going hard, not talking about the whole fact that, the lady is a porn star or a con star, like they like to say on YouTube. The lady does is into the adult entertainment world. So it was like he's not going to go hard on her. And the reason was that because she looked scared, she didn't want to be there, he perceived that she was not comfortable, blah, blah, blah. And I was looking at it during that interview, I was like, oh, here goes the person who suddenly cares about women being comfortable. This is somebody who has bragged about beating women. This is somebody who has bragged about the things he does to women. This is somebody who, there's a clip of him flogging a woman with a belt. And of course, we should know that was one of his kinks, his bedroom kinks. It's BDSM. There's nothing wrong as long as the two of them consent to it, even though one of them is crying her eyes out. But, of course, Andrew Tate is concerned about somebody, being comfortable about something. We should all not forget that, right? And that is why, also, he has no issue with breaking up a marriage, because that's essentially what he's saying he did here. He broke up a marriage. He broke up someone's marriage. And, yes, we can all say that it is not 100% his fault. Yes, the lady in question should be blamed because you are married to somebody and you are going to cheat on the person with your ex. That is messed up. And it takes two to tango, obviously. So we cannot put all the blame 100% on Andrew Tate and be like, he's the bad person, he's the despicable human being, blah, blah, blah. No, we cannot do all of that. It goes both ways. Both parties involved are responsible. Both the woman rather, and the man. And Andrew Tate more especially. I feel Andrew Tate more especially because he's the one who is aware that this person is married. I mean, courtesy. I mean, just bro code or whatever, if he ever had one. And which reminds me of something he said in the live stream with Aiden Ross and Adam 22. He said that was it on that live stream or in one other interview like that? He said that, I think in one other interview, he talked about how he will not go after Kim Kardashian because she has been with Kanye West. And out of respect for Kanye West, he will not go after Kim Kardashian. Of course, we know that is rubbish. He will not go after Kim Kardashian because there is a likelihood that he will get turned down. There's a likelihood that if he agrees to that relationship, it might you know what that family can do. You know what that family can do to men. So if he's wise, he will stay away. But of course, he feels if his ego will always get in the way, and if he sees somebody who is a walking, breathing red flag, he himself is also a walking, breathing, like, compilation of red flags, right? It's as if they bundle a bunch of red flags together and they formed it into one human being, and that human being is Andrew Tate. So that's how he will not be aware that, oh, this may be somebody who is more dangerous than I am. But that's by the way. He said the reason why he will not go after Kim Kardashian is because he has respect for Andrew Tate. And we are supposed to believe that, okay, he developed this mindset when? When did this mindset, become his new modus operandi? His new way of behaving? Of course, this is something that he just came up with because he's being prosecuted. The real Andrew Tate does not care, has never cared, will sleep with somebody's wife, end the relationship. And not just that, not only will he end that relationship, end that marriage, he will also convince a married woman to do webcam business for him. Get the lady to abandon the husband, leave the UK, move to Romania, and do webcam for him. That is how despicable this human being is. So yes, that's that's the Andrew Tate news. I don't want to speak too much about it. And this is let me. There's a super chat that just came in, but I cannot see it on my software. But when it appears, I would highlight it. I will definitely, but I can't see it on my software. Anyways, so that's that about Andrew Tate. And there's also something else I want to point out about him. But before that, let me just react to some chat rather. This is from KNG. He said he's a grifter who tried to ride the return masculinity wave. He has no clue what makes a real man. He definitely doesn't. He has no clue what it means to be a man, what a real masculine figure is. He tries to fake it. Most of the advice he gives to men are generic. Most of them are just generic. Oh, work hard, go to the gym, don't sleep around, stop playing video games. And people are like, wow, this is profound. I'm like, no, it's not profound. This is basic. Like, you didn't know that you're supposed to get off your tail, do something with your life, stop wasting it on video games. You needed Andrew Tate to let you know that is something you should have considered. It's really remarkable to me how people consider this now. This is what passes for something that is profound. This is profound. This is profound advice to young men. Oh, stand up and stop being lazy. Wow! I have never had that before in my life. Nobody has ever told me to get up and stop being lazy. Nobody ever told me that it is important to make money. My God, I thought there was no point to making money. There is never any good point to making money. I thought all there is in life is just sit down, play video games, watch adult content, and do what follows after, and just live a very useless, mundane, unreasonable existence. That is what I thought all life was about. And then I met this profound sage who told me for the first time in my freaking human existence that maybe I shouldn't play video games all the time. Maybe I should go outside. Maybe I should go to the gym and not be a fat freak. Maybe I should just get something going on, in my life. Motivate myself. Such never crossed my mind until I met Andrew Tate, apparently. And that is what we are supposed to believe is true masculinity. Right? That is That is the pinnacle, ladies and gentlemen. That is the pinnacle. And we are supposed to ignore the fact. I was watching that BBC interview where the lady said, you tell men to do all these things, you tell men to work out, blah, 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 but it comes with a side order of misogyny. And I'm like, no, misogyny is not the side order. Misogyny is the main dish. Every other thing, work hard, get up, exercise, that is the freaking side order. The main dish is misogyny. The main dish is not just misogynistic talking points. It's misogynistic behavior, because what he eventually teaches his dummies is how to exploit women. That is where it leads to. All this get up, work hard, do it, is then open a webcam business, then exploit women. That is where it ends. That is, misogyny is not the side order. Misogyny is the main dish. And it's funny, right now, if you complain that, if you highlight the fact that certain things are misogynistic, you are automatically labeled a feminist. That is what it is now. If you point out that, something is misogynistic, you are a feminist. Thank you, Lil Buzibet, for the $5. I greatly appreciate it. There's someone who sent me a $10 super chat. I cannot highlight it because it didn't show up on I can see it on YouTube, but I cannot see it on my software. And your name is Sent Your Stunt. And that's 10 New Zealand dollars. Thank you so much. Sorry I'm unable to highlight it. It's not showing on my software. So yes, that's what we get from Andrew Tate. And it's not just there. Here's something that I saw recently on Twitter. Here's something that I saw recently that happens to be a new promotion that Andrew Tate is running. Just so you know what he has been up to. I guess that is the news with regards to Andrew Tate, because it's new. I guess that's the news. And where is it? Okay, here. Just watch this. Watch this.
Interview with
just watch this absolute display of genius and wisdom from the Tate fans.
Interview with Candace Owens is now live, where they exposed deep secrets hidden within the Matrix. But Tate also mentioned a huge project he's been working on for the past year, which involves him acquiring his own planet. Take a look.
All of the students of Hustle University are going to be citizens of my brand new planet. So what is on this brand new planet? Well, there'll be monuments. Of course, we will visit Mount Wudan, where you can hear a tale and master the 7 styles. Perhaps I will teach you Aikido.
This will be happening inside of Hustlers University, which has now been upgraded into the real world. The greatest university on the planet. 9 millionaire professors, 9 modern wealth creation methods, over 300,000 students. Check profile to escape the Matrix.
The person who is currently not a millionaire himself, because almost all his assets have been frozen or seized by the Romanian authorities. That's the person who is going to teach you how to make millions. And of course, he's going to show you how to do that legally and not attract criminal prosecution, because of course he's a genius and he has been doing this for a very long time, obviously. And he's going to link you up with 9 other millionaire criminals. I can only imagine. His fellow criminals. And then they will teach you what new crime activity you have to engage in so that you can escape the matrix. Or he could even teach you Aikido, right? He can teach you on match Casper, whatever he called. I've forgotten that phrase. There's this phrase he usually uses. Anyways, he will teach you a lot of things. How to escape the matrix by getting through criminal investigation. How you escape the matrix by being a victim of, not a victim, by being the accused in a criminal prosecution that has to do with human trafficking. So sign up, guys, if you have not signed up yet. This is something that you should consider. Everybody is doing it, okay? Don't miss out. This is me doing my best to help you escape the matrix. This is me doing my best to help you. Don't say I've not done anything good for you guys, right? I'm linking you guys up with, life-changing opportunity here, right? So, and he's creating his new planet. It's a new planet. It's no longer. Andrew Tate has built empires, right? At this point, empires, that's losers. That's mediocre. That's basic level achievement. empire. That's what people who are starting. That's where they start building an empire. Oh, they start with building a business. Then when they are now crawling, they build an empire. Then they conquer the world, like Alexander the Great or Genghis Khan, who obviously conquered Vienna. Or, you build your planet. That's like epic level. That's something people like Elon Musk can only dream of. And Andrew Tate is already achieving that. So he has a planet of his own right now. And if you sign up for his program, where he takes your money and delivers to you the best level of value that can help you, become a citizen of this new planet, you get to enjoy the beatitudes that come from being a part of the Andrew Tate ecosystem. So yeah, please sign up. I hope this is enough to convince you that you don't want to miss out. Anyways, let's see. Mark Pearson said, "I'm glad I got married in 2009 before feminism turned into a radical cult, and that product created Tate. He's the anti-feminist." Yeah. Here's the problem I have with the sentiment when people say, I feel it's kind of blaming feminism for this actual toxic behavior that we find amongst certain men, promoted by certain men, including Rollo Tomasi and Andrew Tate. Yes, what they are promoting is pretty toxic. They teach men to, be promiscuous, to not care about women, to, engage in, have multiple sex partners, sleep around. They make women look like empires that should be conquered, and you own them and stuff like that. They are your property. They obey you. They listen to you. They should have no mind of their own. They are not smart. They are not intelligent. They are stupid. Those kind of nonsense. And that statement in of itself is anti-feminism. To say women are stupid, that's anti-feminism. But the truth is, yes, Andrew Tate and the feminism, they are the same, in that they both movements, both the Red Pill movement and feminism, both movements hate women. They both hate women. This is ideology driven by women haters. And you'll be like, oh, but feminism, they are mostly women. Yes, who hate themselves. Because you cannot listen to the things that they promote and not come to the conclusion that these people hate women. They hate women so much because this thing is going to destroy the lives of so many women. It's going to make so many women miserable. If you follow Andrew Tate, if women follow feminism, they will be miserable. If men follow feminism, women will be miserable. And that is what you see when you consider the numerous victims that Andrew Tate has created. The women he has exploited, most of whom are even afraid to come out because of how he and his lawyers are hell-bent on frustrating them with lawsuits like they are doing to Emma Gabi. But that's by the way. And that is exactly what it is. Both of them, both movements. So to say feminism created Andrew Tate, I would say it did not create him. He's not responding to feminism. Andrew Tate is not a response to feminism. Andrew Tate, or an extreme response to feminism. No. Andrew Tate is an exploitation of feminism. He's exploiting the movement. Oh, so if women engage in OnlyFans, it's women liberation, right? Yes, it's women liberation. Okay, then I'm going to run a webcam business and get women to be naked and work for me and give me all the money. He exploits everything. This guy is a fraud, an opportunist. He's going to take advantage of anything he can take advantage of. Right now, he's even taking advantage of conservatives, those who believe in family values, by claiming and pretending that he too does believe in family values, when his track record shows that he has been anti-family values for a very long time. And do you know who else is anti-family values? Feminism. Who want to destroy the nuclear family? Feminism. From the video we watched before this one, who did we see destroying a marriage? Andrew Tate. So Andrew Tate is that is why I call him two sides. Him and Femi. I see the Red Pill movement and Andrew Tate in particular. I see him and feminism as two sides of the same coin. They are two sides. It's the same coin, just different sides. They all have the same mission. Andrew Tate is just exploiting a movement, exploiting a very, dire situation that has been created by feminism, and he's exploiting it. He doesn't want to fix it. That's something you need to understand. When somebody is exploiting a problem, they don't want to fix it, because when they fix it and that problem ceases to exist, then their source of income dries up. If the world embraces family values and people stay off pornography, then Andrew Tate will go broke. He will never have made the money he made. Here is Mark Pearson. Thank you so much for the super chat. You said, thanks for your thoughts. I'm a feminist as it was meant to be, respect, protect, and appreciate women. The treating women like sexual currency is awful. Yeah, thank you. And I agree with, a lot of... this is from Super Duper Fly. He said, who introduced feminism to society? The root cause is important. People who introduce feminism to society are feminists. Essentially. Feminists introduce feminism to society. Yeah, it's not rocket science, I guess. A bunch of feminists, the pioneers, you get a couple of them. And one thing you need to know about every movement, even the ones you don't agree with, even some people who say I am a feminist, is that they agree with, many of them are not really feminists in the true sense. What I mean by that is, you agree with the sentiment or you agree with their diagnosis of the problem, because the devil is always in the details. I agree with a couple of things that feminists point out as a problem. They're like, okay, we think this is a problem. Like what Mark Pearson said. Let me highlight that again. Talking about respecting, protecting, and appreciating women, right? When you live in Nigeria, for example, because in Africa, when you talk about feminism in Africa, we are talking about women having basic rights. Like the treatment that they receive is almost inhuman. Is terrible. When you talk to the average African woman and you're like, the way you are treated, especially by the men in your life, be it your father, be it your husband, is, it can improve and it should improve. They will agree with you. And you can market that as feminism, right? But then there are other things that come with that. Everyone will agree. Yes, if there's an environment where women are not treated well, where women are treated poorly, that environment should change. Such culture should change. You understand? But what should it change to? Is where we all get to disagree. And that is where I believe rational people who are like, well, I think I'm a feminist, will be like, oh, well, in this regard, I'm not. Because feminists believe, oh, well, women are equal with men. Okay, no. In what sense do you mean? What do you mean by equal? We should discourage women from being housewives. Women should be in the workplace. That is how we are able to get women respect, by putting them in the work. Okay, no. You get? So the devil is always in the details. The devil is always in, okay, yeah, this is a problem. Okay, how do we solve it? The solution is where the problem lies. It's the same thing with the whole Red Pill movement. There are certain things they recognize about what is going on with feminism. That is true. Hookup culture is on the rise. It is detrimental to women. Women have not profited or benefited from hookup culture. Society has not. There's a decline in marriages, increase in divorce rates, stuff like that. And divorce usually occur when the woman earns more than the man in two-parents households. In two-income households, stuff like that. All of that is true. What is the solution? Well, men should be toxic. No. You get? No. The solution is not for men to be toxic. It's not for men to dominate. It's not for men to now treat women, to return to the time when women are being treated poorly. Yes, maybe in that period, there are certain good things from that period that we admire, but it does not mean we cannot have those good things while also treating women as human beings. But of course, they try to give us this, especially whether it is feminists or those in the red pill movement, give us this first choice, right? You have to choose. You can't have it both. You can't have it both ways. But it's not true. It's not true. You can have a society that respects women, a society that treats women well, that give women certain rights, including the right to vote, right? You can have that society and still have an increase in marriage. You can have that society and still have a decline in divorce and still have a healthy society. And let's not act like this have not been the case in the past. And there are not instances of this even in the present. Let's not act like that. And make you believe that we have this false alternative. It's either this or this. It's not true. And that's what both sides like to present. Is either women are liberated and society and family falls, or women are subjugated and society and family thrives. That is the false choices that we are being presented with. And it's not true. It's a lie. You know. So yeah, that's that's what I think about the whole video with Andrew Tate. This is from Nip. He said, everyone in society are equal. The only difference is in physical difference. We are all human beings, and we have a right to equal opportunity and choices to do what we want. That's true, yes. That is like basic that, goes without saying. This is from Lil Buzibet. He said, we have a saying, people can't walk and chew gum at the same time. It's as if a person can only think in one binary mode, one extreme. Yeah, that's kind of how it is being painted. We can't have a balanced society. It has to be extreme. And it's not true. We've had times when feminists often paint this picture that, women have always been subjugated and oppressed. But that's not true. We've had times in our history, in the history of the world, in different societies, where women had rights, where women were not treated as objects, and where we still had a prosperous society where families exist and family values existed, and there was like traditional values were still a thing, even in those societies. And yet women still had rights. Women were not treated as second-class citizens. Right? So to suggest that the solution is either we have this extreme where, women have to suffer, have to be pushed to the side. And then, yes, if that happens, then and that is what feminists often, try to. That's why many of them seem to be against anybody who is pro family values, because they see family values and promoting the nuclear family as promoting the subjugation of women. To them, it sounds like these are words, they are synonyms, but they are not synonymous, And then those in the red pill space make it look like giving women rights and not treating them as objects is synonymous with a decline in marriage and an increase in divorce, which is also not true. These are lies, These are lies, terrible lies. But let me not dwell too much on this mountain. Let's talk about something else. And we go over to Rachel Zeglar. Now, I want to do justice to Rachel Zeglar, and I don't want to just play compilation clips, right? I don't want to play compilation clips. I want us to look at the actual clips, the full clips. So I will not take her out of context, okay? At least we are accused of that. And from something that we saw from a video she made like a year ago, she has it in her nature to accuse people of misunderstanding her and taking her out of context. In that regard, she's like Andrew Tate. They all like to claim that, people are misunderstanding and misrepresenting whatever they said. So, in order for me not to be accused of that, we are going to, when we are talking about Rachel Zeglar, we are going to look at the full context of everything she said and every clip that has, come to light in recent days and these days about her, saying pretty obnoxious stuff. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do right now. Let me just bring up this clip. Sorry. Share my screen. Should I? I want you guys to see. See what Google is suggesting to me. Rachel Zeglar. Rachel Zeglar. Let's start with Expo 2020. Yeah. Let's start with this clip.
You hop on 9 Mobile confirm data. You can't be out here stranded in these streets. I hear you around 9 Mobile confirm. It's confirm.
We saw you get emotional up on stage today. What was it like watching this footage with everyone here at D23?
Fun fact, I didn't get to watch it. I didn't see it. I have no idea what everybody was reacting to, but I saw the logo and I got really emotional. I also heard everybody like screaming and I got really excited, which means they must have liked it. But I know how I felt making it, and so hearing everybody's reception of it being so excited and screaming and cheering is so, it just fills your heart with such gratitude. Really, it does. So.
I know you're a longtime Disney fan. How does it feel to be here at D23 Expo?
I wanted to be here for so many years. Can you believe? Like, I've never been. Because I live on the East Coast, so it was never something that I was able to do. So I was pinching myself this morning just getting to walk around and see everybody's dressed up. It's crazy. It's wonderful. I'm having the best time.
I remember you telling me when I interviewed you about West Side Story that Stephen Sondheim called you a nightingale, and here you are now playing a songbird in the Hunger Games prequel. Yeah. Have you thought about that?
I have. I really have. I mean, he follows me around everywhere. I mean, I have a mug that I travel with because I travel a lot that has his face on it. And he was such an influential part of my life. And so I keep that in the back of my mind always. But I do love that parallel because that was the number one compliment I've ever received. Stephen Sondheim says she's a nightingale, and then I get to play the songbird. Or do I play the snake? I guess you'll have to find out next year, 2023. Yeah.
All right. So as we can see, this clip is from like... most of the clips are from like 11 months ago. Most of the clip about her. And this one, of course, she did not say anything bad. And I want to start with that one so that we can give this lady some credit for showing. And she was grateful to be at the Disney Expo 23. She was grateful. You can see nothing bad that she said, right? Because she's a human being. I'm going to get to the point where I will start slamming her. Don't make no mistake. It's not going to be me trying to do PR. I'm not trying to be her public relations officer. Of course not. I'm not going to run PR for her in this live stream. I'm going to slam her. But before we get to that, let it be known that all the interviews she did they were not all bad, right? They were not all terrible. And I want to essentially make that clear, okay, that not all of them is terrible. And I want to start with the one she did with Extra TV. Can I get that here? Extra TV. All right, so this is one of those clips.
Well,
those
I'm
clips.
so excited for you.
Thank you.
What does it look like? How has it been to shoot? Did you talk to Jennifer Lawrence at all?
I have not talked to...
Sorry, let's let's back it up a little.
Oh, hello. How are you, first of all? And like, what was it like out there with everyone
to watch.
Right,
I saw the title card, which looked great, and so I feel very...
Before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more...
All right,
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no prince, or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story, just because we cast a guy in the movie,
right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. all of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. But it's one of those things.
So true,
it's
yeah.
an inner journey that she goes on to find her true self, and she meets a lot of people along the way that make the journey really incredible.
I know I'm almost wrapped, but
Yeah, and with that, this is the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of the end with Snow White. I don't know if this is the beginning. I think the beginning it all began when with that leaked photograph of Snow White and the 7 pronouns. Snow White and the Snow Brown and the 7 diversity hire. It all began, and then she's like, let's take it to the finish line. And of course, this we made like 10 months ago. These were interviews from like 10 months ago. And she said, because like from this interview alone, you can already see a couple of things that she said that are horrible. Like, it's from 1930, what did she say the movie was from? And evidently so. Really, you're going to say that like the movie is old? Of course it's old, but what are you trying to say? It doesn't speak to modern times? That's you dunking on a movie, or dunking on a fairy tale, on a story that is important enough that Disney is trying to do a remake of it. Yet you are dunking on it, saying, "Oh, it is from." And yes, that's the problem I have with Disney, right? You have, because this is not just the view of Rachel Zeglar. Make no mistake, this is not Rachel Zeglar's view. This is the view of those in Disney. This is the view of many in Hollywood. This is the view. This is the viewpoint that they all hold, that many of these stories are outdated. Many of these stories do not reflect the values that we hold today. Many of these stories, are incompatible with modern audiences. That is the view. That is the the narrative is established. That is what it is. It goes. Nobody in Hollywood, for the most part, is denying this. They all agree that these stories are no longer relevant. Fine. If these stories are no longer relevant, then why do you keep remaking them? Why do you keep using the title? If when people think of Snow White, they think of an old story that they are no longer interested in, then why do you use the title? Wouldn't the best thing to do be to come up with new stories that reflect, the new values and the new ideas that you claim that today that is what all of us uphold, and how the ones from the past are abhorrent? If that is the case, then come up with new stories. Think about it. If Snow White is so terrible, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs is just a terrible story. If that is true, then when you hear that there's a remake of, think of a terrible movie from or a movie that you think is terrible today that it was made in like the 60s or the 70s, or a story that was written in the 18th century. Let's say there's that story and you have that in mind and you think that story is terrible, and we have this general consensus among majority of the population that such story is terrible. If that is the case, then when you hear, oh, we are making a remake of that story, you'll be like, why? That is a terrible story. Who is going to see that? That will be the reaction if everything they say is true. But it is not true. It is not true. That's why they want to use the name. Because that story has made a name for itself. It has a legacy. And they want to cash in on that and destroy the legacy of that movie. This is obviously forced on its face, because if these stories are really outdated and nobody cares about them, you will not be remaking them. You will obviously not be remaking them. And this is why what she said is terrible. And is really, has put her in serious hot water, because you are dunking on a story that you consider to be outdated, and yet you are featuring in an outdated story, and you are like, oh, no, we are trying to update an outdated story. Yeah, it's so outdated that your update does not. This is the funny thing about this update, this wonderful update. This wonderful update does not involve a new name. Let's say you come up with a new story that is like an adaptation of the Snow White story. You come up with a new story and give it a different name, and you are like, oh, well, the inspiration for this new story is the story of Snow White. That's not what you did. No. You took the name, an outdated story, you took the name of an outdated story, you took the characters of an outdated story, you took the costume is inspired by the outdated story. Everything you are doing is inspired and trying to reflect that outdated story, the only thing you leave out is the actual story itself. Yeah, that is to tell you how outdated it is. Of course it's not. Of course it's not. You know what you're doing. Disney knows what it is doing. Of course, she doesn't know because she's just a pawn, and they have given her a script, and she's just going to read it in every interview and regurgitate it and repeat it and spew it out like a dummy. You know, that's what it is. Peter Dinklage, this from Lil Buzibet. He said Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones is an excellent actor. He is, and he's the reason why they don't have a dwarf or only have one dwarf in the upcoming Snow White and the Snow Brown and the Seven Diversity Hire. He's the reason, because he complained about it and said why they are remaking it. Why have they not learned anything from him? Because that's the usual thing, actors do. There is a door open in front of them. They enter the door and then shut it and ensure that no one else will be able to access that door. Because that's what you do when you are a generous superstar. This is from Nip. He said The Hobbit didn't have dwarf actors, and no one really said anything about that, nor did The Lord of the Rings. But if Disney is going on woke culture, they definitely should have dwarf actors in the remake. I mean, they talk about representation, right? If you want to have if this is about representation, then shouldn't you represent those in the dwarf community, right? Shouldn't that be a minority you want to represent? Instead, you are going to take jobs away from them. You give them only one dwarf, and then the rest is like a bunch of Walmart employees, essentially. Super Duper Fly said she's a product of Hollywood. Did you know that Hitler drew the dwarfs? Right? Who knows? Maybe Hitler drew the dwarfs. I mean, Hitler also invented Volkswagen. So we never can tell. So, yeah, this is the first clip that not the first, but one of them. And then the other one was, the other one was an interview with Variety.
Crying on that stage.
When am I not crying in public? It's so upsetting.
Why were you crying?
Oh my gosh! I saw the. Well, we didn't even see.
Overwhelming.
We didn't even see.
From what I know and what I'm used to, and I super enjoyed every second of it.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is.
You can clearly see that she's repeating a script. I don't know if you understand. You can clearly see. She said in the other listen, it was from 1937, and evidently so, with her obnoxious snack remark. And you can see now that it's a script that she has been given. When you go out there, tell them that we are making an updated Snow White. Tell them that it is no longer 1937. Make sure you repeat it. So.
She's not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my...
And as you can see, Gal Gadot also has her own line. Her line is, she's not going to be saved by the prince. You will watch another interview and Rachel will repeat that line again. It's as if they give these people lines and they're like, go out there and repeat it. That's why you cannot really blame these actors. You cannot blame these actors for what they are saying. That's what they've been told to say. She's just repeating what she's been told to say. The problem with her, anyway, is that she's young and she's not smart about it. She's not smart about it because, yes, of course, you're going to go out and say whatever it is you want to say, appeal to whatever you want to appeal to, whether it is feminism, whether it is diversity, whatever it is the studio have ordered you to appeal to in all your interviews. You're going to go out there and do exactly that. But you have to be slick about it. You have to be wise about your delivery. But she comes off as just obnoxious and annoying. And the way she goes on about it is not smart. And that is why she's catching a lot of flack, especially when you consider the fact that this is a young actor who doesn't have, like, I mean, think about if this was Halle Berry, right? Who acted Little Mermaid, who was going about saying, oh, we have an updated Little Mermaid, and it's not a love story. It's all about she being part of the human world and she discovering herself and she going on her journey of discovery. It's not going to be about love. It's just going to be about self-actualization. And then she going like, oh, that's the fairy tale was written in 1845, and evidently so. Jesus Christ. You know the level of outrage she's going to the level of backlash she's going to get. Oh my God, it's going to be bad. Coupled with the fact, yes, I'm going to say it, coupled with the fact that she's black. Like, you are black and you're saying all of that. I mean, first of all, you're not supposed to get that role because it was a Danish fairy tale written for a white character. To be played by so he's a white character. This is a white character, and now you are playing a white character, and then you're going to dunk on the movie, and you're going to crap on the movie. I mean, you're going to crap on the fairy tale. You're going to crap on the story. You dare not do that. You dare not. And then she just went. I mean, and she's not even slick about it at all. She's just like that's there's a place in the Bible that talk about a foolish messenger will get punished. She's like a foolish messenger, and she's catching a lot of flack as a result. That is the problem. She's young. She's not smart. She's not smart about, repeating the message she has been given to repeat. And I really want, for me, that is our offense. Her offense is not the thing she's saying. Because if you watch every press junket, every interview that these actors do, they all repeat this same garbage. It's just the difference is in how they say it. There are some who say it in such a way that they're able to get away with it. And there are some who say it in such a way that they are not able to get away with it. And that's the category. The second category, that's the category that Rachel Zeglar falls into. And you'll see another one of it. This is the second interview. The third one is her interview with Entertainment Weekly. Not tonight, Entertainment Weekly. Is an interview with Entertainment Weekly. And as you can see, all these are this is from 10 months ago. These are not recent stuff. These are stuff from 10 months ago. So she didn't know that most of these things would come back to haunt her. When she was making this statement, she had no clue that one day there will be, Hollywood will go on strike, right? So there will be not much coming out of Hollywood, and people will have a moment to, to catch a break, to sit back and reflect on, what have been said in the past. Let's go back to ancient catalogs of interviews, and let's revisit those. And that's exactly what they are doing, and they are finding out that, here goes this obnoxious little brat who thinks she knows better than the writers of classics. So that is essentially what is happening to her. So let's look at this. I want to get to the main point. I don't know if this is one of them. I think this is one of them. No.
It's great.
That's not.
Magic milk.
That's not. Is a...
I was like, gal's mad. It was
Yeah.
but then you were FaceTiming your kids right after.
Yeah.
Being like, and yeah, sure. I had no idea what I was auditioning for when I auditioned. So it's a kind of a hilarious question to say, what drew you to the material? Is that I didn't realize that I was reading lines with Dopey. It said Jeff and Amy bow everyone out of the way to play the part. Whistle. And I took a pause and realized what I was auditioning for, and then it became like I will elbow everyone out of the way about the material because he has a young daughter and he really wanted to make a movie for her and for his younger son, and I feel like he did just that, and that was really special to be a part of.
For me, what drew me to the material, first of all, I'm all about the people. And when to be released,
who cares
so
about
much
what drew you
different
to the
than anything
material?
else I've ever done, and to be able to dance a recorder when that used to happen like a million years ago.
I watched it on VHS.
Okay, that makes me feel so much better. Woo! So yes, I watched it back then. It was amazing. I even remember being a babysitter and showing
Once, and then I went on.
All right, this is the one.
so special.
Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once, and then I went on the ride
Here's
in
the-
Disney World, which was called Snow White.
Here's the funny thing about like what she's about to say. She was not asked about it. Like, no question was asked. Nobody was like, "Oh, what do you think about the story? What do you think about the story Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?" Nobody asked that question. It wasn't a question that was asked. It was just a conversation. She was responding to something Gal Gadot said, and then she just decided to say this. This is just to tell you how foolish she is, like how young and dumb this lady is. Like, she's really young, and she's really, like, if you take her age and triple it, that's the level of stupidity that comes out of her mouth during these interviews.
Scary Adventures doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again. So I watched it for the first time in probably 16.
Sorry, I think we went.
Like something a little kid would like. Snow White's Scary Adventures went on the picked it up again. Like, I'm being so of the original cartoon.
Let's go back a little bit so
special.
we'll understand.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up.
The catch is she was scared of the original cartoon. She watched it once. She never picked it up again. So essentially, she didn't like the cartoon. She's not a fan. And it's okay to not be a fan. Like, let's be honest. She's an actor, okay? Many of them is during the process of acting a movie that they get to become fans of it. Many of them don't really didn't know anything about what they were acting. You know, over time, you get to like the story as you act. I mean, I can only imagine how the job is, right? I'm not in that world. So I believe it's not unheard of that you have an actor who, at the beginning, was not really a huge fan of a particular story that they get to, you know, or a particular character or a particular story they get to dramatize in a movie or something like that. But to go out and say you thought it was scary, come on, you have to be smart. Jesus Christ, who is advising you? Who is giving you advice? How did they not tell you that this is disastrous? You don't say something like that. You know, you go out and she's not the first person to say. We've had writers, showrunners of things like She-Hulk, for example, saying, "Oh, we are not familiar with the source material," or writers of Star Wars, or I don't know, whichever it is, whichever one. You hear them say, "Oh, we are not familiar with the source material. We did not consult the source material. We thought there was a need to change it," or "I'm not a huge fan of the story." And you're like, okay, if you're not a huge fan of the story, then leave it alone. Like, it is obvious that if you're not a huge fan of the story, you will not be able to do justice. I feel it's something that that is a requirement if you're a showrunner or if you're a writer for a particular story. But if you're an actor, I think it's something that I will be open to let slide. Okay, you're not a huge fan of the story, fine. But just don't say it. Okay? Just don't say it. You know, if you say it, it's going to make you look bad. You know, these are things you should have just known, like, beforehand. You do not say that you're not a fan of you do not say this. You do not say it. It's dumb. Don't say it, you know.
Up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again. So I watched it for the first time in probably 16, 17 years when I was doing this film.
I mean, this girl
I mean, that's just bad. I watched it once, I never watched it again. Which is cool, true. You can be as truthful as can be the truth, but it's something you don't say, like I said before. And you can just see that this lady is young and dumb, and she will not stop talking. I think that is one of her many problems, is that she doesn't know when to just keep quiet and just say few things, right? Just say few things and think before you say the things you are saying. Don't be so excited, too excited that your mouth just starts running, you know. And that is her problem. And my money is on Snow Brown and the 7 diversity hires being a huge flop. That's where my money is on. I am fairly certain that is what is going to happen. And here is something else that she said, because of course she doesn't stop talking. Just this interview alone, which is like 5 minutes long, she said 2 things that were so problematic and very controversial, just in 5 minutes. That's a record.
The reality is that the cartoon was made 85 years ago, and
you see, there we go again. It's a script she has been given. It is a script that she has been given, and she's going to keep repeating it. I guess Disney right now will be calling her, like, that script we gave you, that one that says Snow White is from 1937 and it is outdated, or it is dated and it needs updating. Don't repeat that ever again. Do not, I repeat, do not repeat that ever again. I'm very sure she'll be having that phone call right now. People will be telling her, don't say that ever again, okay? And don't talk about the prince being a stalker. Don't mention that again. Jesus Christ, we didn't even write that one in the script. You came up with that one on your own, and it is so terrible. Don't do that ever again. I'm very sure she'll be receiving those kind of phone calls right now. Or they'll just be like, you know what? Don't no more interviews. Once the actors strike and the writers strike is called off, and studios resume, and you start going out for interviews. In fact, you won't go out for any interview anymore. No more of that. No more. I'm very sure that's what she will be told. That's what she's been told at this point right now. No more. You've made a lot of screw ups already. Or Hollywood can just surprise us and double down. This is not the first time. They'll just double down, triple down, act like it didn't happen. Call those who reacted to this racist and stuff, is the usual, and say, oh, these are toxic fans. These are toxic fans. This is the alt-right. This is white supremacists. The usual. These are racist and sexist, and the usual. It doesn't surprise anybody at this point. We are all used to it.
And therefore, it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power and what a woman is fit for in the world. And so when we came to reimagining the actual role of Snow White, it became about the fairest of them all, meaning who is the most just and who can become a fantastic leader. And the reality is, Snow.
No, the fairest of them are supposed to be who is the fairest. The fairest means the fair. Who is fine. Like, fairest does not mean who is the whitest. It's more like who is the most beautiful. Jesus Christ. And now she said it now means who is the most kind. Jesus Christ. So now it is a story about kindness and not about beauty. Okay. Interesting.
White has to learn a lot of lessons about coming into her own power before she can come into power over a kingdom.
And also the fact that she's not going to be saved by the prince. And she's...
Do you see now that this is a script? Is it becoming clear now that this is like a script that has been, is a script that they've been given? The script says the movie is from 1937, is dated, it has been updated, and there is no longer a love story. It's now a story about Snow White discovering herself and being kind and being the person that her father believes her to be, or wanted her to be, envisions her becoming, whatever that is, It's no longer a love story. It's now a story of self-actualization and self-realization, the usual. And then Gal Gadot's line will be, she will not be saved by the prince. You can see that that's like the script they've been given. And Gal Gadot is smart enough to just keep repeating that one line, the way it is written in the script. She will not be saved by the prince, full stop. I'm not going to. I'm not going to improvise. I'm not going to add anything. I'm not going to just. She's not going to be saved by the prince. Full stop. You know. Let me see what people are saying in the comments. This is from Emmanuel. So the original quote from the book says, "Skin white as snow, lips red as blood, and hair black as ebony." Yeah, I'm aware of that. That's true. That's true. That's a direct quote at the beginning of the book describing Snow White. So obviously this is a character that is supposed to be white. Skin white as snow, lips red as blue. I mean red as rose, sorry. As blood. What did I say as blue? Lips red as blood and hair black as ebony. But Disney had other plans and they want to be diverse. That is what is king right now. Diversity is king. That is. And Lil Buzibet, said something that I consider to be, which for me is the main point for me in Hollywood is, why not make an original story? Why not make original stories? Why not do that? Why do you go and vandalize things from the past? Because this is a vandalization. You are ripping it apart. You're destroying it. Why not just make something new? Even you can make something new and say inspired by, right? Inspired by Snow White. And then you make something new. You call it something new and, find another way to advertise. But I don't think risk-taking and anything like that is something Hollywood want to consider, especially big corporations like Disney. I don't think they are considering taking risk. They want something that will guarantee success. And their formula is, let's take something that everybody is familiar with and remake it. That's why we have endless remakes right now. And Mohammed said, original movies do not do well because people are interested in new things. I remember 2 amazing female lead films that failed despite staying away from politics, Thoroughbred and Tragedy Girls. I don't know if I agree with what you said, but I understand where you're coming from and you have a fair point. The fear, that is for me, I feel that is the fear. The fear is that, original content will not, or original movies will not do well. That is the fear. But here's the thing. For a movie to do well, it's not enough that the movie is original. It's not enough that the movie stays away from politics. The movie has to, I feel you need to do something extraordinary. You need to take risk, like creative risk. Like not creative risk that has to do with identity politics or, whatever these people are doing in this interview. No, I mean like real creative risk where you are trying out something new and you're trying to see if this will stick and if the audience will love it. It's the same thing with Shazam, the recent Shazam that came out. And I was listening to the Critical Drinkers critique of the movie. And I agree with what he said 100%, which is that it's not enough to, we are staying out of politics. That is not enough. It's not enough to say we are not doing a remake. That is not enough. There has to be a unique angle. You have to try something new. That's what it means to take risk. Creative risk is that you are going to try something completely new. You are going to invent something in storytelling, that has not been tried before, or at least something that is really like risky. And see if the audience will love it. It may not go well, but that is what creativity is about. And that is what, pushes it forward, especially when it comes to making movies, songs, and what have you. That everybody is trying out something new, looking for the next wave and stuff like that. But right now, what people want is just tried and tested. Tried, tested, and trusted. That's what they're after. They don't want anything new. Oh, what is the formula that is tried, tested, and trusted? Let's go with that one. Let's not try to take any form of risk. Let's not try to, do something creative on a, grand scale that has not been done before, even though there's a likelihood that it may be a flop. Movies flopping is not really like, it's not really like a bad thing. so to say, because it's creative ventures. You don't know how it will be received, But what makes it newsworthy, or what makes people pounce on it whenever a movie fail, is when we see the obvious trick that they are trying to pull, and we see that this thing is not failing because it is a creative experiment that went wrong, but rather it is a marketing experiment that was supposed to go well, but went wrong, and we are like, yeah, good for you, So that's how I see it. Now, one more thing, when it has to do with this story of Rachel Zeglar, is that. But before we go to that, I want to. I want to highlight Leo Bozibet. Thank you for the $2. He said at KNG had that idea, not me. All right. At KNG, thank you. Thank you. Where was it when he said that? KNG was like, the not being visited by the prince have been revisited 100 times already. True. I don't know if it is revisited by me, but by them, it has been obviously revisited over and over again. And if not for if not for the strike, if they had opportunity to go for more interviews, she's going to repeat it even more, and we are going to discover all of those later. But yeah, that's what they have been told to say. Is a script that that has been written, and they now have to act out whenever they go for interviews. These people are actors. Someone is always feeding them lines. That's what people need to understand. For the most part, you should be angry with the person feeding them these lines. Okay, they don't come up with these things on their own. Now, one more thing I want to point out with this story is there's a clip that came out that that was believed to be Rachel Zeglar responding to the backlash that has, backlash that on Twitter, when these interviews, clips of these interviews became viral. But that was not the case, right? And it's so funny. The so-called response was actually from a long video she posted on her YouTube channel that was like 1 year ago. It was made before she even did any of these interviews. So it's kind of, you can't say this this is a clip from this is she responding to the controversy, because she made the video way before the controversy began. And we are going to look at that, and there's something I want us to learn from that. And let me pull up the clip. And here we go.
TubeBuddy helps your YouTube videos get seen.
Oh my God.
Sure wish it could also help me find my TV remote.
All the advertisements that...
It's been a while. What's up? My name is Rachel Zeglar. Welcome back to my channel.
So you can see this is from like 1 year ago. If you can see here, it's 1 year ago. And back. And it's a longer video where she went, on vacation for 3 days, a 3-day vacation. And then this is at the end of the vacation, and she was responding to certain things. And this has been taken to be her response to all the backlash she's been getting from social media, which is not. And this is why I say when you see things on Twitter, you need to research them and be sure. If not, you're going to believe that, well, this is what is happening when it is not actually what is happening. So...
a Snow White scented candle. It smells like me. I had such a beautiful time. I'm really glad that I legitimately ran away from my issues for 72 hours. I have a feeling that this video is gonna get taken out of context, and I know that at this point I can't.
She predicted it, guys. Like Andrew Tate would say, I predicted this. She predicted it, that this clip will be taken out of context. And it was. It was, because people made it look like this was a she reaction. I say reaction, reacting to the backlash, but it's not. She predicted that the clip will be taken out of context, and it was. And anyway, let's keep watching.
Can't really stop people from doing that because that's what my whole existence on the internet is. It's just me being taken out of context and stuff, which is fine. That's what I signed.
Okay, this something she said. She said, my whole life on the internet is me being taken out of context and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. But how about this? You're an actor, right? You're an actor. That's your primary job, is you being an actor. Not a social commentator, not a talkative, not being talkative, not the role you have to play in real life is not someone who has diarrhea of the mouth. Okay? So if you keep quiet, people will have less of your content out there to take out of context. Just the suggestion, you can't take something out of context if it is not out there. How about you reduce the number of things you say?
Signed up for, isn't it? But I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have when I say that this has been the biggest adjustment of my life, like understanding the way my life operates now, being who I am, and the things that I've been so fortunate to make. It comes with so much ground that I never thought I would be able to cover, and that people think I'm doing poorly, and other people think I'm doing gracefully, and I don't think I'm doing it at all. So when I tell you that it's hard, I just mean to be inside my brain.
And another thing, there's so many things in this clip, like so many things. One of them is this desire for, well, I call it oversharing, that goes on. And I believe so many people it's a trend these days. People overshare. I want to come out, I want to be transparent with my audience. No. You guys know me. I'm not sure I come out and be like, oh, I'm going to tell you 100% what happened to me and what is going on in my head and how my day went and how I feel in the moment and this and that, and these are my problems and these are my issues and this is how I'm trying to handle it, and I'm trying to find sympathy and solace with you guys, comfort with you guys. No, I don't burden people. Don't burden people with your problems. Do not do that. This is what your friends are for. This is what friends and family members are for. They are for unloading when you have to unload. They are for blowing off steam or letting off steam when you have to do so. Not your audience on social media. And you're like, oh, I want to let you guys know this, and this is my rant, and this is how I feel deep down with what is all that is going on in my life, and I want you guys to know about it. It's better. It's best. I feel the best thing to share on social media, in my opinion, is your views on common issues, right? On issues generally. Oh, this is what I think about, this is what I think about that. This is my view on this is my view on that. You can share those views for the most part if you know how to be articulate and you know how to perfectly express your views in a way that people can understand and appreciate, even though they don't even agree with you. Or if you want to make a living out of being an obnoxious person on social media, then you can just go ahead and just hop on a very controversial issue and even make it worse, right? But if you are somebody who your career is not just being a social media personality, you're an actor, right? You don't need to come on social media and be like, let me link up with my let me connect with my audience. Let me let you guys know. Like, can we go back to the era when this was not the case? Can we go back to the era when the only time we see you is in a movie and in an interview? Can we go back to that era? I know social media has made all of us, everyone accessible to everyone, but can we reduce the access and the amount of things we make public? Jesus Christ, come on, you don't need to share everything. We now walk around with, the problem with us today is that we walk around with our cell phones, with a camera, and we always want to use it. We always feel like someone should be looking at us. People should look at us. Notice me, I am here. And no, that should not be the case. Like, that should not always be the case, except you really have something to show. Then turn on the camera. But if you have nothing to show other than how you feel today, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you shouldn't talk about it. Just maybe you shouldn't. You should spare us those personal information. Transparency is for people who are close to you, not for strangers on the internet. Full disclosure is for close family members, for very close friends. And one thing with oversharing is when you tell people so much about you that are personal, so many personal stuff about you is just all over the internet. When you do that, what then do you tell your friends? Like after Rachel Zeglar have had this moment of complete transparency with her fans, what is she going to tell her friends? What conversation will she be having with her friends? The same one she just had with us? I mean, if that's what she's going to tell them, she could have just tell them, oh, I posted a video on YouTube. You guys should go check it out. There you know everything I'm talking about. What privileged information do people who know you personally have if everything about you, how you feel in the moment is going to be shared? The problem with this lady, the major problem with this lady is the same with so many people in society today. With so many with young people in society today. They feel the need to tell us what they think about things that are personal or even things that they know nothing about, or things that that they're going to say in such a way that will just anger the average listener. And they don't understand that sometimes you should keep quiet. Sometimes you should not say these things. Sometimes you should just keep it to yourself. Sometimes what you need to do is just watch and learn. But no, they are young and they're already talking. They're young and they're already... Like when I was growing up as a young person, one of the things that I was told to do is to keep quiet. As a young person, you feel, you have a lot to say. Yeah, there's so many things I want to say. Yeah, I'm going to. And one of the things I was being told repeatedly growing up as a young person is keep quiet. Keep quiet. Listen first. Listen first. You pay attention. You learn something when you pay attention. And be slow to speak, quick to listen. Slow to speak, quick to listen. But these days, when you can easily get an audience, everybody wants to say something. And even me myself, with somebody who runs a social media platform and who gets to put out his views every now and then, I find myself falling into that temptation every now and again, where I'm just quick to want to release a video, or even sometimes quick to put out something out there that is, really not something I should be putting out there, And every time we need to check ourselves and be like, this story of Rachel Zeglar should tell us that the moral of the story is be careful what you put out there. It will come back to haunt you, especially if it is you being obnoxious. And we cannot say that this is something from 10 years ago. This is something from 10 months ago. This is not something from 9 years ago. This is not something she said when she was 15. This is something she said recently. So it's not somebody digging up her past. And rumor has it, I don't know how true it is, but rumor has it that she's one of the actors who responsible for Gina Carano being kicked off The Mandalorian. That is, I don't know how true that is, but the rumor is that she's one of the people who facilitated that. If that is the case, then you can know how active her lips have been. And that is the problem. This is from Lil Boozy Bet. He says, isn't Rachel violating her contract by streaming? She's not streaming. This is just like a vlog. I don't think she's streaming here. And this is from KNG. I told my daughter, don't post anything you wouldn't on the 6 o'clock, you wouldn't want on the 6 o'clock news. That's true. That's true. That's a very good advice. That's a very good advice. Be careful what you put out there on social media. Don't post something that you will not be proud of. Do not. As much as we say, freedom of speech, people should not be held accountable for, ignorant views that no longer fully represent them. we can excuse that for people who made this mistake earlier on when social media just came into being and we didn't know what to do with this monster and how to go about, sharing information on these various platforms. It's something we can forgive, when people did it back then, 10 years, 15 years ago. People were just hopping on, getting on these social media platforms. People were just using Facebook for the first time, using Twitter for the first time, realizing that you can connect with a large number of people. You don't even know what you're supposed to say or what you're not supposed to say. This is a monster you've not explored before. It's okay if you can say, okay, from 10 years ago, these people made really dumb comments, right? But now we've tried this for a long period and we've seen that, okay, yeah, there's so many things you say here. The internet is forever. It is forever. What you say today is permanent. So be careful what you want to say, But people don't learn. They obviously do not. So yeah, that's that about Richard Zeglar. I was looking through the comments, and this is from JB. He said, "Freedom of speech, not freedom of judgment." Exactly, I agree 100%. You have the right to say whatever you want to say. It's something I always say. You have the right to say whatever you want to say, and I have the right to critique whatever it is you say. So, think about the fact that you're going to be criticized. Because that's the only thing we can do to bad opinions that are being said on the internet. You can't shut it down. You cannot deprive people of the right to say these things, but you can make fun of them and you can criticize them, and that is the right we have. So if you know you're going to be criticized, so many of the things you said will be held against you and you will receive huge backlash. Think twice before you speak. Think twice. So many people's careers have ended not because they got cancelled, not really because they got cancelled, but because they said something that just made the public just shift away from them. I remember Makumo. I don't know if any of you know this rapper, Makumo, who won Album of the Year. And when he won Album of the Year, he sent a message to Kendrick Lamar telling him that, oh, you deserve this, rap album of the year, rather, rap album of the year. So he sent this message to Kendrick Lamar telling him, look, I feel you were being robbed. You deserve this, not me. I'm sorry that this was given to me. I really feel bad about this, blah, 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 blah. And after saying that on the text, which was cool, Kendrick Lamar, even when he was asked about it, he felt like, when I saw the message, I was like, oh, this is cool, fine. And then after making that, he decided, you know what, it's not enough that I sent this message to Kendrick Lamar. I need to let the whole world know that I sent the message to Kendrick Lamar. And then he screenshotted the message and posted it on social media. And the backlash came hard. And since then, he has not been able to repeat the success he made with his first two albums. That is to tell you how devastating it was. And this was not cancel culture. This was just people, after he did that, people just felt he's no longer cool. And, we don't want to mess with this guy anymore because, that was corny, that was cheesy, that was unnecessary, that was bad. That was not a good look. So, this is from Mr. DJF. Oh boy. A lot of letters in your username. This movie should be called The Diversity Hire and the Seven Incels. I don't know if those people are incels. I don't know. Incel is one of those insults that people just throw around. Like, incels means involuntary celibates. Okay. I think this is from Nip, and it's probably an argument that is ongoing in the chat about Andrew Tate. I'm saying what's going on to him. Either he is guilty and goes to prison, or he is innocent and he can go back to Dubai. Yeah, I don't know what that long conversation is about. And Super Duper Fly said, Tate is not important. Why are people obsessed with him? He never invented nor contributed something to humanity. Only another webcam kingpin. And that's true. That's true. That's true, but you have to understand something. Me talking about Andrew Tate is not what is making him popular. People make that mistake and they're like, "Oh, you are talking about him. You're making him popular." And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. I'm not. I'm not making him popular. If there's anything I'm doing, I'm trying to make him infamous. I'm trying to make people understand that this guy is terrible. I'm trying to, I'm trying to point out how destructive his ideas are and how destructive everything he represents is. So I'm not making him popular. He's already popular. Among young people, they are listening to him. Young people in schools are watching this guy, especially those who their parents have no control over what they see on the internet. Just as ladies are obsessed with stuff that talk about gender transition and they are looking at it and considering changing their sex, especially those who are young, like we see among Instagram users. As that is happening to the women, to the men, they are consuming Andrew Tate on TikTok and Twitter, and they are being and this is something that is being pushed forward by prominent conservative figures. Now he's popular in so many circles. You can no longer ignore him. Many people believe there's this idea that people kind of roll with the idea that if you just bury your head in the sand and act like the problem does not exist, somehow it will go away and he will just be old news. That's not true. That's not true. That's how people like Hitler became prominent when he was, blabbing the things he was blabbing. Some people who saw how destructive and ridiculous his notions were, took him for granted. Nobody took him seriously. And it didn't stop him from being prominent and later turning out to become, a charismatic leader that led, Germany to commit so many horrendous atrocities. So that I, for example, say, you know what, in my channel, I'm not going to talk about me with my over 300 subscribers. I say, oh, I will no longer talk about Andrew Tate. I'm no longer going to talk about this subject. That me doing that is somehow going to, then it will just die down. No. Do you know how many of his minions post content on TikTok and YouTube constantly, regularly? The video I just showed you is a promotional video created by somebody who isn't Andrew Tate. Probably one of the downline in his multi-level marketing scheme, who is trying to get people to sign up using his link. These are what his minions do. That's how he became the most Googled man on the planet. You cannot afford to ignore him. It's like cancer. You think if you ignore cancer, it will stop growing? No. You have to address it and you have to do everything you can to uproot it. And I think that's what people need to do. People need to come to the realization that Andrew Tate is like gender theory. That's how he is right now. He's like gender theory. He's a trend. And it's a trend that is deceiving so many young men. And if you ignore it, it's going to become mainstream, prominent, and it may be too late. And you realize that this segment of the culture has been lost to toxic behavior amongst men. Because if there's something like toxic masculinity, if that ever was a thing, then Andrew Tate is a perfect embodiment of that. This is from, sorry, I wanted to highlight Nip. He said the misogynistic stuff recently and used the Matrix as excuse. Hustlers University and all of it was within 2 years, not once 5 years ago. True. His multi-level marketing scheme was a recent something. People act like, oh, he created this stuff like 55 years ago. No, these are recent stuff. But yet he's going to tell his people as a defense. And this is the funny thing. Many of his followers know that this thing is not from long ago, but I guess they have dementia, where they just quickly forget something and then just take the recent thing that Andrew Tate said. Like, how do people behave like this and not realize that you are being played? This person is obviously lying. He just lied right now. Don't act like he did not. He just lied right now to your freaking face. KNG said, just for your information, incel was coined in the 90s which goes to show how many times the identity politics has been recycled and regurgitated. I know because I was a radical in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, yeah, identity politics is not new, but it has become like mainstream today and very popular. Like it's a go-to right now for so many people. And speaking of identity politics, that brings us to what's her name? That brings us to Taylor Swift. So there's this, which is something that I'm going to close with. This is an interview from Taylor Swift. Not an interview. It's not an interview, rather. It is an acceptance speech that Taylor Swift gave like 3 years ago in 2019 when she received Woman of the Decade award at the BET Women in Music. I think it's BET Women in Music Awards. And this speech, a portion of it has resurfaced on social media. People are sharing it. And they are pointing out a particular fact and ignoring other facts, which is something people just do. They take a clip. You can see a clip that says so many things that you don't agree with. You will ignore all of those things you don't agree with, and you just take one thing that you agree with and amplify that and just be like, oh yes, this person is on my side. And I'm like, there are like 6, 7 other things that this person just said around, as in the same speech, in the same moment, within the same, as in within one sentence or even one paragraph. If I would say, if we are going to group the things she said, like we are writing it down in one paragraph. She says so many things that are wrong and terrible, and you're going to ignore all of that and just focus on one thing that she said that you agree with. And that is what is happening here. And I want you guys to listen to the clip. This is something that has made its round on social media, especially on Twitter, amongst those who identify as conservatives. And
our inclusion, our ability to start calling out unfairness and misconduct. It was announced. I'm fairly certain he knew exactly how I would feel about it.
I'm trying to find the portion. Like you can see, this is a 15 minutes clip, and it was an acceptance speech. As in, I thought, acceptance speeches are usually like maybe 5 minutes, 4 minutes, but this was 15 minutes. I mean, I'm about to say something that people will consider sexist, but please, it's a joke. I guess this is what you expect when it is women, a congregation of women.
Lately, there's been a new shift that has affected me personally and that I feel is a potentially harmful force in our industry. And as your resident loud person, I feel the need to bring it up. And that is the unregulated world of private equity coming in and buying up our music as if it is real estate, as if it's an app or a shoe line. This just happened to me without my approval, consultation, or consent. After I was denied the chance to purchase my music outright, my entire catalog was sold to Scooter Braun's Ithaca Holdings in a deal that I'm told was funded by the Soros family, 23 Capital, and the Carlyle Group. Yet, to this day, none of these investors have ever bothered to contact me or my team directly to perform their due diligence on their investment in me, to ask how I might feel about the new owner of my art.
No, we're not playing the whole 15 minutes. I'm just going to play a portion of it. And I've played that portion. And that's the part where she talked about private equity buying up music. Essentially, the whole clip was just she, talking about the problem women face in the music industry, despite the fact that someone like Taylor Swift has, she has sold millions of records. She has multiple awards. She, platinum selling records. She has sold. As in her career. This is There are so many men in the industry who can only dream of having the level of success that Taylor Swift has achieved in her career. Like, this woman has, as in, do you know how many VMA awards for Video of the Year that she has won? This lady she's well decorated. If she's a military personnel, you use the word well decorated for her, right? And yet she wants us to understand that the whole clip was just she telling us how critics she has so many critics. And I'm like, yeah, it comes with success. It comes with success. That is what you expect when you are successful. The higher you go, the higher the higher the number of criticisms you receive on a regular basis. It's not going to come down because you are successful. That's how it is. That's how it is when you get to the top. That's how it is. The criticisms increase. It abounds. If sometimes it becomes unbearable, it is what it is. If you cannot handle it, then you step aside for your own sanity. And I will even, I will respect that. Nobody is expecting you to be able to weather it. Like, it's not for everybody, But of course, she's going to complain about it. And then she's going to say the reason. One of the things she said is that the reason why this happened to her, why she received this level of criticism, is because she's a woman. Because no man in the music industry, not a single one, has ever been criticized. Men just have it easy. We all know that men are not criticized, right? Men in the music industry, they get away with murder. Practically anything they do is acceptable. None of them have seen their career turn to nothing because of something they did, because of how hard fans went on them and stuff like that. It only happens to women. Despite the fact that you have women who, for the past 6 to 7 years or less, maybe 4 or 5 years, have not even released a single album, yet they are billionaires. And I'm talking about Rihanna, because they have a cloth line. Meanwhile, you have artists who are grinding daily. They are releasing tracks upon tracks upon tracks, and they've not been able to achieve the level of success that Rihanna has achieved with lesser albums and more cloth line and more brands and what have you, whatever that is. That is how these women are able to succeed in the music industry. And I'm not saying it's easy for them as women. I'm not saying they are not they don't face saying things about you and stuff like that. That is not unique to either of the sexes. And then she talked about private equity firms buying up the rights to her music. And fair enough. So many musicians get into deals that are like crappy deals that they later on regret. It happens in the music industry. It happens to many people. It is a bad thing that you get to sign a deal not knowing what you are signing, and then later on when you become successful and you want rights to your music and you want to buy the rights to your music, you discover you can't because back in 2004 you signed a deal not knowing what you were getting yourself involved in, and now you are stuck with that for like forever, unfairly, you might say. But then it's a deal. You agree to it for the most part. And people don't like being told this. I noticed that some people in the music industry don't like being told this, but you agreed to this. Like, you agreed to it. You were not forced. Nobody held you at gunpoint and said you either sign this or we blow your heads up. We'll blow your head up or something. Nobody's like, oh, we are going to cut off your finger if you don't sign this. You willingly signed it. Of course, you didn't know what you were signing. I give you that. You didn't know what you were getting yourself into. True. But you did it. It was your signature. You agreed to it. She said this was done without her consent. No, it was done with your consent. That consent was given many years ago. And now anybody has the right to do whatever they can with your creative work. And it doesn't feel good, but it is what it is. And there are many ways to go about it, right? There are many ways to go about it. Like one of the ways that I saw was when Dave Chappelle asked for people to boycott him and not watch the Chappelle show as it was coming on Comedy Central and other reason we are running it until Comedy Central pays him. That was a clever way to go about it. And listen to what he did when he was trying to get people on his side. He didn't make it about identity. He didn't make it about politics. He didn't make it about anything. He didn't bring out the fact that he was black or anything about it. He just addressed the issue for what it is and asked for his fans to support him by boycotting him. And it worked. Like, can we talk about issues without doing, because she later said that, let me get to it before I even comment. Let's get to it.
The music I wrote, the videos I created, photos of me, my handwriting, my album designs. And of course, Scooter never contacted me or my team to discuss it prior to the sale, or even when it was announced. I'm fairly certain he knew exactly how I would feel about it, though. And let me just say that the definition of the toxic male privilege in our industry is people saying, but he's always been nice to me, when I'm raising valid concerns about artists and their rights to own. Of the toxic male privilege in our industry is people saying, let me just say that the definition of the toxic male privilege in our industry is people saying.
Did you hear that? The definition of the toxic male privilege in our industry. She cannot talk about it without mentioning toxic male privilege. Like, how do you get people to even empathize with you when you make your whole problem or the thing you are complaining about, when you tie it with this whole identity politics nonsense? How is this toxic male privilege? It's not toxic male privilege. It is business. And you may not like how it goes. Fair enough. You feel we need to change the way this business is being conducted. Fair enough. You don't like the way the music industry is run. Fair enough. But to say, oh, this is proof of toxic male privilege, that you are complaining about someone and other people are like, well, that was not my experience. And you're like, oh, how dare you say that? No, you have to agree with me. Well, you may have a bad experience with somebody. It doesn't mean all of us have to be like, oh, that was our experience. For some of us, that was not our experience. And for so many people in your industry, maybe that was not their experience with the guy who you are complaining about. They are not allowed. If they do so, it is them enabling toxic male privilege. Good luck trying to get people to support you by doing that. Like, good luck trying to get people on your side by dividing them with such divisive language. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. You know. And of course, she said the people who came and rallied behind her are women. Of course, it was the women. You can't. That's why this is called Women in Music. So when you do women in music, just everything has to revolve around women. And those are people who rallied behind her. Those are people who stood by her. And all the men were just exhibiting toxic male privilege. And the funny thing is that those on the right who were pushing this video on social media, the only thing they cared about was that Taylor Swift said the people who bought the rights to her music, the company that bought the right to her music was funded by George Soros. And they're like, oh, look, George Soros. You see, George Soros was the person who orchestrated the crappy deal that took away Taylor Swift's rights to her music. Can you imagine? George Soros. Oh, and I'm like, when you guys are done talking about George Soros, can you recognize and acknowledge the fact that every other thing she said is rubbish, like it's just nonsense, and you don't agree with it and they don't align with your own values? When you are done, highlighting how much you don't like George Soros, can you come to terms with this fact? Don't always hop on somebody. Just don't take something someone said because there's a portion of it that you like, and then ignore every other terrible thing that the person said before and after. That is a typical example of taking something out of context. And I'm tired of celebrities whining. I'm really tired of it. I am tired of it. Like who are they? You live the life that half of, like, more than half, 90% of the human population will only dream of getting nowhere near the kind of luxury that you enjoy. Do you know how many times this lady flies on a private jet? You host shows and you have a stadium packed full with people waiting to see you. You have huge following on social media. You release a merchandise and people are like wanting to get their hands on it.